Hello, folks. I've got more questions than answers, but I'll be glad to share with you what I'm looking at and what I'm thinking. So, these are same charts, silver, gold. Obviously, we've got this tremendous volatility in silver right now. $7.50 day. That was, I think, $10 or $15 from top to bottom. I think it was 15. What we do? There's a $4 day and then 340 working on in the current session. So anyway, just tremendous volatility in silver right now. Not surprising. Gold, big drop, has dropped back down below that resistance level from this set of highs, hanging out, consolidating below that level. So nothing, terribly concerning about the metals. Obviously volatile, understandable. MACD sell signal there in gold. We might pay attention to that. Me personally, given its year end, the volatility in silver, not knowing what's going on in the repo market, I'm just watching, you know. Um, and so anyway, I'm just, passive observer. Well, I'm not a passive observer. I'm long. I'm very long silver. So, not a passive observer by any means. Active observer. How's that? But I'm sitting and watching, collecting my thoughts, thinking about what may come next. And so anyway, as part of that, what we're looking at here is my timeline as I'm trying to understand what's going on in the silver markets right now. This is a timeline that I'm watching or thinking about. And we have to go all, in my opinion, to understand current silver action, we've got to go all the way back here to January, March, what is that, April. Fourth month is April. 2nd of April, day after April Fool's, interesting. Trump announces these Liberation Day tariffs. And if I remember correctly, they were ambiguously defined at that point. Nobody knew what Liberation Day tariffs might look like. Industrial manufacturers who are dependent on silver to produce their products, and they happen to notice well, they wouldn't happen to notice. If you're serious about doing business, you're paying attention to what Donald says because you never know how it might affect you. But, and so anyway, they noticed the potential tariffs and possibly at that point started thinking about how do we as a corporation secure physical silver. And then we see, now we're in October, so 8 months later, and there's Samsung has bought two years worth of output from the La Paria mine. And so, is there a link between those two? Maybe, maybe not. It was on the 26th of October when China announced their export rules impacting silver. And so, there again, another signal to industrial users of silver that, hey, the supply situation's about to change. And this, I've been saying for months now, well, hadn't been doing videos, so you didn't hear me say it, but I've been thinking and talking about with my associates that there is a global trend towards nationalizing natural resources. And I wasn't expecting the trend to express itself in such an obvious manner. I mean, that's the trend in spades. I mean, and you think China's basically saying, all the silver is ours, and you don't get it unless we decide to let you have some. And I suspect that this move by China will kick off the same kind of activity in other nations. And so anyway, we're likely to see, in my opinion, nationalization of natural resources: silver, gold, energy, critical rare earth minerals. I mean, copper. You name it. Let's see, silver critical memory. And then these in the highlights. These are certainly significant. Don't know, all we can see is that it's happening. We don't know why it's happening. All we can do is speculate. And so that was the day after Christmas. We talked about this one. This is a GSIB, a globally significant bank, borrowing $17 billion at the repo window. On that same day, we get a tweet from Musk, and supposedly this tweet is Musk reacting to this, China announcing its export rules. And, is this really the first time? If this is the first time that the silver supply shortage situation crossed Elon's radar, I just lost some respect for him as a businessman, because he's late to the game. He's late to the game. He should have been thinking about silver back here, except he and Donald are good buds, right? Let's see. And then on the 26th, that was the price. I'm calling it a pricing discontinuity, and emphasizing it was only in the Western markets that the 750 gain, and then the big smash down that followed the 750 gain only occurred in the Western markets. Didn't happen in the Eastern markets. And if we go look at here's silver in China, and you can see there's the in green is China and yellow is Western. And so, price of silver in China didn't drop as it did here in the States. So anyway, that's interesting data point. And then we haven't talked about this one yet. So this was on the 29th. That was yesterday. Another one of the GSIBs, maybe the same one, maybe a different one, or group of GSIBs, borrowed $26 billion at the repo window. That was yesterday. And then also yesterday at the market close, the new margin requirements went into effect at the CME, which of course one of their markets is the COMEX. And so silver margin went from 22,000 to 25,000. And the initial margin to open a position in silver jumped from, I think it was 25K, and it jumped to 27.5. But anyway, change in margins yesterday and then today. And so yet again today, some GSIB went to the repo window and borrowed $3 billion. And who knows, who knows. And then on the 1st, this is when the new export restrictions kick into effect on silver. And so anyway, there's a lot going on. I find this stuff is more interesting than looking at charts, and more impactful. I mean, these are the fundamentals. The price action is interesting. These are the fundamentals that, in my opinion, will drive the price action. I got to thinking about, Elon Musk and his tweet. Let's think about his businesses, SpaceX, Tesla, XAI. Well, all of those businesses depend on silver. Without silver, Musk doesn't have any of those businesses. And a cute thought, I saw somebody joking, quip, that Elon is the biggest promoter of physical silver on the planet right now. And with all of these businesses, there's certainly some truth to that. And then, follow-on thought, it's like, okay, clearly Musk needs silver. How does he secure it? And that's, I don't have an answer. It's an interesting question. And then, given that Samsung went and secured the La Paria mine for 2 years, Musk is a bit of a show. Well, he's not a bit of a showman. He is a showman. And so, will Musk feel a need to upstage what Samsung has done, and how would he go about doing that? So, and then this is me just spitballing end of the year crazy ideas what might happen in the future. Um, let's say that Musk decides to promote, he's going to get on the MAGA via mining. Let's make America great again, and we'll start with mining natural resources. It's all about natural resources, folks. You don't have energy, you don't have natural resources, you don't have an economy. And so anyway, MAGA via mining, and of course the real objective is to get the American taxpayer to pay for everything, so people like Elon can get even richer. But we won't go there now. And then, if something like that were to happen, where would you go to find silver? Well, the joke is, if you're looking for gold, go to where gold has been found in the past. Or, of course, we're talking about silver, but same thing. You might start with the largest primary silver producer in the United States. And, well, who is that? It's Hecla Mining, of course. They've got two mines that would be key on the American theme. Greens Creek, that's their flagship, 9 million ounces a year. Lucky Friday, another 5 million ounces a year. This one's in Silver Valley, Idaho. 20 to 30 year life based on existing reserves. And so anyway, if you were looking for silver in America, you'd probably go to Hecla. And then, more pondering, just me being silly. What would it take to buy Hecla outright? So current market cap, 13 billion. Going into the market and buying shares, you can do that. It's a slow process, and there's disclosures that once he goes over, I think there's a notification he has to file at 5%, and then if you go over 10%, anyway, there's SEC required filings as you accumulate large positions in companies, and of course, an aggressive acquisition would drive the price up. But even if Musk aggressively decided to buy Hecla and drove the price up 60%, that's still under 25 billion. Okay, 25 billion is not chump change, but let's talk about Elon's net worth. Well, currently 630 to 750 billion dollars. That's pretty healthy net worth. And so 25 billion for an outright purchase of Hecla, that's less than 5% of Elon's net worth. And I'm not saying it's going to happen or that it might happen. It's a silly idea, but it's something we ought to have on our radar because, well, not necessarily that it's this. In my opinion, it would behoove us to be watching for some action from Elon related to silver. And I'm going to leave it there, folks. Enjoy the new year, and I will talk to you soon.